And welcome back to Hannity. So over the weekend, GOP presidential nominee Donald Trump, he came under fire over a tweet that he wrote drawing attention to the deadly violence that is now plaguing Chicago. Trump tweeted, quote, Dwayne Wade's cousin was just shot and killed walking her baby in Chicago. Just what I have been saying. African Americans will vote Trump. Now, Trump wrote a follow-up tweet later in the day saying, my condolences to Dwayne Wade and his family in the loss of course, their cousin. They were in my thoughts and in their prayers. Liberals and social media, they were quick to criticize Donald Trump over the tweets while turning a blind eye to the violence that has caused the death, in this case, of Miss Aldridge. Joining us now, Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clarke, Salem radio nationally syndicated talk show host Larry Elder. You know, they could say this, Sheriff Clarke, all they want, but I doubt that Barack Obama can name 5 names of the over 3,500 people, many of whom are black, that were killed in Chicago since he's been president.
Kudos to Donald Trump. There was nothing insensitive about that tweet. As a matter of fact, I would have found it insensitive to not say anything about all the carnage that's going on in the city of Chicago. 460 people murdered, mainly black. And you look at that compared to coalition forces killed in Afghanistan since the start of the Obama second term in 2013, 275. Look, Mrs. Bill Clinton never saw this coming. The Democrats are scurrying because they know he struck a nerve. They've had to take out ads. They've had to go back. But the one thing they cannot do, they went right to the race card. They cannot defend the indefensible. These American ghettos are hellholes, and Donald Trump is the only one that wants to talk about this.
Larry Elder, Donald Trump is making a huge effort, more than any other presidential candidate I can think of in recent memory, maybe besides Rand Paul, who ran in this cycle, that wants the black vote, saying, I want your vote. And he's going to Milwaukee, and he's going to go back to Detroit this weekend. Look at the numbers. Chicago alone, many of these homicides are black Americans, 3,579 since Obama's been president. The number of African Americans, black Americans on food stamps, up 58% under Obama. Number of black Americans in poverty has jumped more than 8% under Obama. You take it further, number of African Americans not in the labor force, up 20%. This is insanity. Number of the home ownership rate for black Americans down 4.6%. Household income, real dollars, down under Obama. What has he done for the black community? What has he done, or Hillary done, to deserve 93% of the black vote like Obama got in 2012?
I would also say, however, that Ben Carson also made an effort to attract the black vote by making these kinds of arguments. Look, what Donald Trump is doing is calling into question the entire ethos of the Democratic Party, which is why they're pulling out the race card. God forbid that black people should rethink the welfare state that has incentivized black women to marry the government and allowed men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility. God forbid that blacks should rethink this government schools that they're assigned to without vouchers when parents have had vouchers. Parental satisfaction has gone up. Graduation rates have gone up. Test scores have improved. God forbid they ought to question minimum wage. At one time, believe it or not, a black teenager was more likely to have a job than a white teenager. And of course, this Black Lives Matter movement, which is founded upon a lie, which has caused cops to become more passive, and crime has gone up and victimized innocent black people. So Donald Trump is asking black people to rethink all of this. And when they wake up, and they will, there's going to be hell to pay at the ballot box, which is why the race card has come out.
Yeah, look, you look at those numbers, and they're overwhelmingly bad for the black community. The liberal, leftist, statist, socialist policies have not worked for the black community, and the murder rate is so high, but they only pay attention, in the case of Obama and Clinton, to high-profile race cases that they can use through the lens or the prism that advances a narrative that they want. Every election, Sheriff, though, Missouri, Democratic Party, 1998, elect Republicans, black churches will burn. James Byrd ad in 2000. Al Gore telling a predominantly black population in his speech that, oh, by the way, Republicans have the wrong agenda for black Americans, and they don't even want to count you in the census. Now the Klan ad put out by the Clinton campaign and updated by Tim Kaine over the weekend as well. You know, it's the most despicable form of politics. Does it backfire or does it work?
It backfires. I like that saying that dog just won't hunt this time. Look, these progressive urban policies have destroyed cities. They have wrecked motivation. They have created a permanent underclass in the American ghetto. What I find encouraging, Sean, is that a recent poll that just came out said 16% of the black vote is undecided in this race. 16%. If Donald Trump captures 5 to 8% of that 16, and that 16 tells me these people want to take another look. If he gets 5 to 8% of this, he wins this thing going away in some of the swing states like Virginia, North Carolina, and other places.
So if that's those are the undecided, what percentage? The Pew poll had him as high as 14.6% in the black community. Larry Elder.
Who knows? I'm predicting he can get as high as 20 or 25%, because out here in California, there was a ballot initiative to get rid of race-based preferences, and about 30% of blacks voted for that. So that's a sweet spot. Also, Donald Trump has talked about the impact of illegal immigration, putting downward pressure on wages and downward pressure on jobs in the inner city. So these are the kinds of things that he can continue to talk about them. He can shave off a substantial percentage.
And you don't think the race card works? Why do Democrats keep using it every election year if it doesn't work?
Well, it does work.
They're a one-trick pony.
What they're doing is, what they're doing is trying to tell black people racism and race and racism remain major problems in America, which they don't. And these guys over here, these dastardly Republicans, these Tea Party guys, these conservative black guys like Sheriff Clarke, they're the enemy. And by the way, we're the savior. Wow. And unfortunately, it has worked, but it's not going to work for much very longer.
Sheriff, last word.
Look, this thing is wide open right now. There's a good chance that Donald Trump will make inroads. I'm not going to predict any seismic shift in the black voting habit just yet, but I'm very encouraged by what I'm seeing. You cannot defend life in the American ghetto. The Democrats have herded black people, took them from the cotton fields, and now they have them herded onto that plantation called the American ghetto.
Thank you both for being with us. When we come back tonight, right here on Hannity.
African Americans have given so much to this country. They've fought and died in every war since the revolution. They've lifted up the conscience of our nation in the civil rights movement.
We'll have more Donald Trump's outreach to the black American community and African American voters. This holiday weekend, he's going to Detroit. We'll have reaction, that and more as Hannity continues.